Our next poet up, Ray, is not here, so we are going to call up Luke Tracey Newman. Now, do I have a bio for him? No. Tracey, what would you like me to write in your bio?
Sam, a fine fellow.
He's a fine fellow who likes to write poetry and songs. So here's another fine fellow.
Thanks. Thanks for coming out tonight. We have a smaller turnout than usual, but a change of venue that I guess could be expected. I found that I enjoy writing the Japanese forms, the haikus, so I'll read some of those, and a ballad and a villanelle, I guess, would be what I'll read tonight. So some haikus. Cold rain before dawn, wind swept wet darkness outside, down quilt, warm cocoon. I was reading some of an author named Eckhart Tolle, who writes a lot about being in the present moment. So I wrote a haiku dealing with that. On the razor's edge, past and future fade away. Here and now draws blood. A few weeks ago, we were in Vancouver, and it rained the entire time. I think we were there, like 3 days, and it didn't stop raining until we were arriving at the airport. This is a couple of poems about the Vancouver rain. Walking around Vancouver, you see just wrecked umbrellas everywhere. Everywhere you go, every street block, you'll see wrecked umbrellas that have been caught by the wind and ripped, inverted, and discarded. And we thought that was something to write about. It's called Shattered Umbrella. Shattered umbrella, wind-twisted capsized wreckage. Both sides rain-soaked now. Another West Coast poem here. Months of West Coast rain slam through orange streetlight haze. Black mold in my soul. This is another Oriental form. It's the Seijo. It's Korean. We didn't actually do it this term. Very similar to a haiku, but about twice the number of syllables in each line, so you can say a little bit more. This was a fall day about a month and a half ago. Rhythmic wind beats and soft, plaintive honking heard overhead. Canada geese etching a southbound check mark on a slate gray sky. Another summer of my life is gone. And how many winters left? Not too long ago, I think Rick's going to close the door or something.
No.
I think it's some of the ballroom dancing hooligans going by.
Sashaying out of the building.
While we were in Vancouver, we saw the Amelia Earhart movie. And I don't even know what it's called, but it's about Amelia Earhart. And something about that stuck in my head. And so the next week in poetry, I ended up writing about Amelia Earhart. And this is a villanelle called On the Day Your Plane Went Down into the Sea. On the day your plane went down into the sea, the whole world listened and mourned your swan song. Is that how you meant to leave? Like Icarus, you dared to be too free. Like Icarus, you earthly dangers scorned. Like Icarus, you went down into the sea. You were born to fly above the trees. Like Lindbergh, across the Atlantic, you soared. Long distance record flyer. Is that how you meant to leave? Was it midlife crisis? You were turning 40 and attempting to fly around the world on the day your plane went down into the sea. No life raft for your safety? Was it deemed too heavy? No backup transmitter for SOS in Morse? Aviatrix, is that how you meant to leave? Some birds are not meant for captivity. Were you fleeing a grounded, gilded cage forlorn on the day your plane went down into the sea? Amelia, is that how you meant to leave? And I have a ballad. I was hoping to make a song out of this. I'm kind of working on it, but I thought I would try it as a spoken word. And I think I've got it mostly memorized. So, when I was growing up in a little railway town in Saskatchewan, there was a train wreck one night, and small town, limited number of families that almost all were on the railway, and affects the culture of the town quite profoundly when something goes wrong. And there was probably a corporate cover-up, but I guess there was something within me I always wanted to write about that, so I wrote a song about it, and now I've written a ballad poem about it. It's called Ballad of the Birdtail Bridge. On a cold April night in the spring of '68, a train left Rivers on time. A crew out of Melville was taking her home, 5 men aboard 409. It was midnight when they boarded their train. Silver rails shone under the stars. A pale horse moon was rising as they headed for St. Lazare. No one noticed a hooded, shadowy figure also boarding that train. I've got 3 names on my list tonight, 3 men who won't be coming home again. The clock chimed 3 as they entered the valley, the Birdtail Bridge up ahead. They had a slow order down to 25, but 3 men were as good as dead. Crossing the bridge, timbers caved in and heavy engines crashed to the bank. 3 dead on the head end was certain when sparks lit the diesel tanks. A diesel fuel pyre exploded in flame. Smoke blackened the moon and the stars. A pillar of fire could be seen for miles in the town of St. Lazare. Morning brings on the new day, smoke billowing over the wreckage. Back in Melville, men in black tell the widows 3 died at the Birdtail Bridge. Today, no one's sure what happened out there. Some say the bridge broke apart and came down. Others say it was burned by Indians, and that's the rumor that swept through the towns. But the Birdtail Sioux Nation plead innocent. They live 1.5 miles from the bridge, a long way to go in the dark and the cold, to build a fire and have a drink. Broken timbers and ties, 3 men died, and the company's files are gone. And no one wants to think about that night anymore, the night the Birdtail Bridge came down. Life goes on in the railway towns. Trains are blood that keep the towns alive. Every night and day, men are on those trains as the company watches over the bottom line. On a cold spring night, with a pale moon rising, 3 figures on the bridge can be seen. A lantern signals the oncoming trains. All is well on the bridge. Proceed. Thank you. So that wraps up my poetry. I'll turn the mic over to Jade.
Thank you, Tracey.